Good evening, Respring family. It is great to be able to take a few minutes to say hello and share some information with you this wonderful May day. And we just concluded our May board meeting. Want to give a shout out to our wonderful Board of Education. They are a phenomenal group, and just so blessed to have them and the work that they're doing and the support that they give and just the great focus they have on doing what's best for kids. We had a really nice board meeting, so I just wanted to process through some things quickly. It wasn't a long open session, but wanted to share some information with you. Want to give a shout out to the following new individuals coming to the district, and that's Josie Hume, our high school family and consumer science teacher, new to the district. Dr. Allison Moore is going to be our new English teacher, language arts teacher at the middle school, and Austin Grega, who will be our middle school, high school choir teacher. I'm really excited to have these three remarkable individuals as part of our staff. I'm looking forward to the wonderful things they're going to be able to do for our students in our community. Very excited about that. Wanted to just quickly provide some information with some things that were shared. This last legislative session at the state level, we were really concerned as a public education organization about some of the things that were being discussed and put out there. Fortunately, we ended up having a really good legislative session in regards to public education. Almost every bill that was anti-education or harmed education in any way, almost every one actually fell through. So we were very positive about that. Overall, it was a great report. There was a property assessment bill that did get passed. However, it's really minor compared to some of the property assessment concerning bills that were proposed initially in the legislative session. And so we're really not too concerned about how that went out. It all played out really well. One of the biggest things that I wanted to update everybody on is in regards to our budget. So we'll talk about that in a minute. But before I get into that, one of the things, obviously, we're starting with summer school. That's coming up June 8th. We surveyed and we had close to 700 responses to our survey from our parents and our community. It was loud and clear that from those survey results that in order to best serve our community, we needed to provide some kind of in-house summer school for kindergarten through sixth grade. I think primarily that's for folks who are getting back to work and needing some support with child care. And our survey also indicated that our students that are middle school and high school, that it made sense to have those students do virtual summer school and provide those virtual offerings. And so that's what we've done. As of now, we have over 600 kids that are enrolled in summer school, K through 12. So we're really excited about getting that kicked off and going. We are following all CDC, DESE, and Missouri School Board Association guidelines. We're following many of those recommendations, making those applicable to our district, making adjustments as we go. We have our worked through a variety of things in regards to sanitation measures and social distancing guidelines within the school district. So, this is our first time coming back on campus with kids during a COVID-19 situation. So we are taking it very seriously and making sure that we're following those guidelines in terms of sanitation. There will be adjustments made this summer in regards to eating. Students will be eating in their classrooms for the most part. We're watching transitions, making sure classrooms and equipment are clean and sanitized throughout the day and throughout the night. And just following those guidelines to the extent possible. The CDC guidelines allow flexibility based on the number of COVID-19 cases that you have in your area, but we're just kind of taking those precautionary measures to ensure that kids are safe. We are also assembling a task force to put together a plan for the fall, not knowing exactly what the fall will look like. I don't think we'll really know till early August, but we are going to have a pretty solid plan in place to address our teaching and learning and what that might look like. We handled COVID-19 in March through May a certain way, and I feel so proud of the work that's been done and how our district has handled it. Really think that we were one of the top districts in the area in our approach. I just feel so much pride in the work that our teams did on that, but it may look different in the fall, and it will in a lot of ways. Teaching and learning would look different if we had to go into shutdown mode, or if we had to have some kind of hybrid situation where we had kids on campus on and off at different time periods, or we may be full blown on campus. We just don't know yet, so time will tell. But we have we are putting together committees that will work over the summer to address teaching and learning, or operations, what that would look like from a health and safety, security, sanitation, all those pieces. And then from a HR, benefits, payroll, all those different kinds of things, so that we have a pretty solid plan going into the school year. So if we are put into some kind of shutdown or some kind of situation where we have to do virtual learning, we'll have that all figured out. And learn from the past to be better in the future. So, I think we recognize that as we move forward, decisions are being made. We're trying to make the best decisions we can with the information we have. We're not perfect. I'll just say it up front. I can't guarantee you that everything's going to be done perfectly, but I will tell you our students and staff well-being is at the forefront of our thoughts. I think everybody in the country in our area has a variety of opinions, from one side of the conversation to the other side. And in some ways, I guess as a leader, you could feel like you're in a lose situation, because no matter your approach, someone's going to probably not be happy with your stance. I just want to tell you that our entire focus in our Reed Spring School District is and will continue to be our students and the well-being of our employees. So we're going to continue that focus and do the very best we can to provide the safest and best learning experience for everyone that's involved. So going into the budget, just a quick recap of our budget. Our revenue, on the revenue side, from a local level, great legislative session that won't impact our budget. Our school district patrons have been really good about paying their taxes. We have about a 98% tax rate in terms of the number of people that pay their taxes, 90 to 100%. So almost everyone pays their taxes on time, or pays them there each year. So we feel like from a local revenue standpoint, we're going to be good moving forward, that the economy hopefully will bounce back and people will pay their taxes and we'll be good. The local budget, we are locally funded. About 74% of our budget is locally funded. From the federal level, about 8 or 9% of our budget's federally funded. Some of that's through title funds because of our free and reduced lunch numbers. Most of that is because of our free and reduced lunch numbers, and we get a variety of dollars. One of the things that has been a blessing to us during this time, finding the silver lining in all things, is that we've received about $400,000 in CARES Act money to be utilized in the areas of connectivity for students and in the areas of salaries and different costs associated with being shut down and things. So what we're using those funds for are to purchase Chromebooks. That's the direction we're going, away from the Fujitsu $1,300, $1,200 devices, the expensive devices, to a Chromebook platform moving forward. So we're going to be able to use CARES Act money to purchase those so that our kids have devices in their hands. We're going to be able to upgrade servers and do some of those things, but we're also going to be able to back pay some of the salaries with our food, transportation, and custodial group since COVID-19. So we're going to be able to address some of those salaries. So that $400,000 will be utilized for expenditures that were already on the docket or planned, or that we've incurred during this time period. So we'll be really in a good spot from the federal level. The state level is where it gets really interesting. I actually had a phone conference call with the governor last week with all the superintendents, which is my first time ever having a conference call with the governor. He says from a statewide standpoint, we're about 11.5% below revenues of where we should have been at this point in time. He expects that the new budget will have somewhere between $500 to $700 million in budget cuts. That is a lot of money, but it also is distributed through every entity throughout the entire budget, throughout the entire state. Not all those budget cuts will come from the education level. I have a conference call with the governor on this coming Tuesday, and hopefully he'll give us some insight into what our real budget numbers and where those cuts really will come down to. So I anticipate going into June, we're going to have some good concrete data on where our budget can stand moving forward into the next fiscal year. Being that we're over 70% local revenue, I feel pretty optimistic. Even if we take it somewhat of a cut on the governor's side, that we're going to be able to stand tall and be okay. One of the issues we've had is our reserves have been low, our savings have been low. So we'll see where we end the fiscal year, and I have some good news to report on that piece. As I'll get into that here in a second. I'm going to have to jump over to a different document real quick. I don't think I have it right here in front of me. But so he's making those cuts. We've already been cut. Our transportation funds have already been cut. So typical payments each month from the state are about $17,000 in transportation. We received $6,400 this last month. Gambling money, where we didn't receive any gaming money this month. That was cut from the Department of Education. We don't know exactly how that'll play out if it continues next month. If people are gambling, I know casinos are open back up. If people are gambling, that those cuts may not be significant, but it could play out to be 50,000. So we're not 100% sure. The formula money, the funding formula that the state uses to calculate how much money we're going to get received is actually going to drop. It dropped in May and it'll drop in probably in June by $65 per student, essentially. So for this year, I'm not really too worried about that. It's going to be interesting to see how much of that number drops going into next year and if it's going to last all year, because that could equate to over $100,000. But for this year, I would anticipate $10,000 to $20,000 in drop of revenue from the formula money. Our sales tax in our county has gone, actually, from what I've heard, we're up actually in our sales tax during this time period. People have been spending some of that, maybe that stimulus money or whatnot, but we haven't done too bad in our area. So I feel pretty good about property taxes as a whole from our local. From the state level, of course, they're down, so we could see some significant reductions in state Prop C sales tax. So again, we'll wait to see what the governor says on the withholdings, what the Department of Education says, and we should have a lot more information in the next couple of weeks. So I'm very optimistic. I feel like overall it's going to be good. One of the things I was going to show you, and I don't have the data exact numbers in front of me, but just kind of was evaluating how much cost savings we've had just in diesel and gasoline and not purchasing a new bus. And then just in commodities, just in meat and potatoes for food. And we have close to $300,000 that we've saved this spring, which is good dollar amount that we've saved just by being shut down. In addition, all the food that we have distributed since COVID-19 has been out is going to be reimbursed. We're actually probably going to be another $50,000 in revenue coming back to the district in revenues. So you're looking between transportation, food, and stimulus money that we've gotten somewhere between $700,000 to $800,000 in increased revenue that we've gotten this year. Or revenue we gotten this year, or not having expenditures. So I feel pretty good. We had some initial discussions this evening. At this point, a couple months ago, the board and I decided that we should freeze the salaries for all employees and not make any decisions until more information is forthcoming. We're getting more information. I think there was some discussion tonight, pretty lengthy discussion about salaries, and I think going into next month, we'll have a lot of information from the governor about where our budget revenues are going to look like as we move forward, and hopefully we'll be in a position to really consider giving every employee at least a step down on the salary schedule, which is just for a year of service. But we'll really have to lean on what the budget looks like based off of the revenue or the governor and other DESE guidelines. So a lot to be learned still over the next couple of weeks, but tune into June, because June board meeting should be good. Want to give a shout out to Mr. Steve Livingston, who's resigned. He didn't really have to officially resign from his position as youth programs coordinator, activities and sports programs. He is just a genuinely great guy who's done wonderful things for the district for years, and will continue serving us in some capacities of transportation and some things in the Booster Club and other things. Just want to let him know how much we appreciate him and his work and dedication to our school, even though he's stepping down from his long services, his most recent years of activities, that youth activities director. We know he'll still be involved in the district, and just want him to know how much we appreciate him. And Jared Anderson will be taking over that program. He's already been transitioning, and we're really excited about what he'll do with the program. And he'll be collaborating with Mr. Livingston, and we're looking forward to where that program will go in the coming years. Summer school plans, we've had that information out. I know it's been pushed out. The specifics on the plans, please look at our website. It'll walk you through kind of our process and procedures for how we're handling summer school, and following those guidelines, recommendations from CDC and others. The salary schedules were approved for the 4-day school week, so those salary schedules were presented to the board for their approval. No increases were given, but just to kind of where they currently stand. Hopefully we'll be able to come back next month, and budget will look a little more promising. So think the only other thing that was discussed is July board meeting will be canceled. It has been canceled. We typically in the month of July do not have a July board meeting, so we'll have a board retreat so the board can work through some goals. June will be an important board meeting. One of the primary reasons it's going to be important is our hope would be that in the June board meeting, we'll be able to present to the Board of Education for approval the strategic plan. Hundreds of people have been working tirelessly on developing a solid plan for our next 5 years to create a vision for our district, unlike anything we've ever done. And so on the 15th to 16th of June, action teams that have been working will be presenting the strategic plan to the strategic planning team for their review and approval. And once it's worked through that process, then it'll go to the board for their review and approval. And it will set the course for who we're going to become as a district over the next 5 years. And so I just want everybody to know how proud I am of the work people have been doing and the dedication and commitment to our kids and community. Just so excited. I'm looking forward to June and what it's going to hold for our kids. That's it for the month of May. Thank you so much, everyone, for all your support. I can't say how much I appreciate our community. I've seen people in our community rally together for COVID, the situation that's going down, supporting families, our food workers, all the ladies in the kitchen, all of our volunteers that have come to distribute meals. Steve Verheyen, Jonas Dotson, Judy. I mean, everyone. There's just so many people. I could just go on and on about how many people have given of their hearts and souls and love to this community during this time. Just want them to know how much we appreciate them, we care for them, and are so proud of the work they're doing. We're looking forward to having school here on June 8th. And until next time, take care, everyone.